My roommate kept locking his bedroom door every time he left. One day, he forgot. When I moved in with my roommate Ryan, everything seemed normal. He paid rent on time, cleaned up after himself, never caused any problems. But there was one thing that always seemed strange. Every single time he left the apartment, he locked his bedroom door, even if he was only gone for 10 minutes. At first, I didn't think much of it. Everyone has their own habits. But after a few months, it started to feel weird. Friends would come over and ask why his room was always locked. Even our landlord joked about it once. Ryan would just laugh and change the subject. Then one Friday, he rushed out the door for work. About an hour later, I noticed something unusual. His bedroom door was slightly open. For the first time since I'd known him, he had forgotten to lock it. I wasn't planning to snoop. Honestly, I wasn't. But as I walked past the room, something caught my eye. There were dozens of framed photos covering one wall. Photos of places all over the country. Beaches, mountains, cities. The weird part? Ryan was in every single picture, standing in the exact same pose. I stepped closer. Then I realized something even stranger. In some photos, the clothes looked years apart. Different hairstyles, different cameras. But Ryan looked exactly the same in every image. Not older, not younger. Exactly the same. That night I asked him about the photos. He froze. For a few seconds, he just stared at me. Then he laughed and said they were edited. Fair enough. Except the answer felt rehearsed, like he'd given it before. After that, he became even more protective of his room. A few weeks later, Ryan told me he was moving out. No explanation. Just packed his things and left. Before he went, he handed me an envelope. He said not to open it until he was gone. Then he walked out the door and I never saw him again. Inside the envelope was a note. It said, "The photos weren't edited, but if I explain you'll think I'm crazy. Just do me one favor. If anyone asks if you've seen me, tell them no." I laughed when I read it. Then I turned the note over. Attached to the back was a photo. It showed Ryan standing in front of our apartment building. The date printed in the corner was 1998. The problem? The picture looked brand new, and Ryan looked exactly the same as he did the day he moved out.